Talladega Super Speedway, the next stop for the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault B Series. Time running out for all the drivers on this field, and only two drivers with a chance to walk away with the championship. Bobby Terrell, Stefan Marinak walk in tied for the lead in points. Only one of them can walk away with that advantage with only 3 races to go in the winding down season. Good evening, race fans. You are watching ETV Live's live coverage of the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault B Series presented by Real Sim Racing at Talladega Super Speedway. Joe Cortez, Harry Wideless joining you. Harry, let's look at the points real quick. Very, very tight points lead. It doesn't get tighter than this. Bobby Terrell, Stefan Marinak tied for the lead.
What an incredible battle we have going down to the end here. We've got 3 tracks and then Talladega. Might as well separate the two, since tonight might as well be a mixture of a chess game with Yahtzee, with roulette. It's Las Vegas mixed in with Talladega. The infield's partying, and we're ready for a great show.
I think you hit it right there. It is everything you can think of combined. It is roulette, it is Yahtzee, it is a dice game. It seems more fitting that a track like Talladega should be built somewhere like Las Vegas, because with every lap you run out there, it's a gamble no matter what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that these guys have where they can control their destiny is who they work with and how well they draft together. I know Bobby Terrell in the previous weeks talked about being a little bit worried about who he'd be able to work with. Obviously, Stefan Marinak seems to be teammates with the Fearless Racing competitors, and CJ LeVere should be working with Stefan, I would imagine. But Bobby Terrell looking for a partner. A lot of these guys looking for a partner. So otherwise, a lot of luck built into this chess match.
A lot of luck in this chess match yet. Stefan Marinak right now the fastest one on the practice session so far with a time of 49.017. But guess who's also out there? Steven Almindo out there turning in some hot times. Tequila Joe out there. The Jose Gonzalez. CJ LeVere almost out of this race. He needs something catastrophic to happen to both Marinak and Terrell in order to get in the group. But he's still not giving up yet. He's still running currently in 4th. And then there's Bobby Terrell, 8th fastest in practice. We often say practice doesn't matter a whole lot, but practice might also tell and tip your hand to everyone else to whether or not you have a fast car.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, if you looked at the practice sheet, you see a lot of cars similar times, maybe separated by 1,000th or 2, and they seem to go in pairs, and that's because they ran those fast laps in the tandem draft. So while Marinak is at the top of the sheet with a 49.01, Steven Almindo also 49.01, then 3rd and 4th 03.03, then down to 5th and 6th, Browning and Barry Hines are at a 26. And so these drivers know just how much these tandem drafts are going to be a factor in tonight's show. Clearly working on that in practice, and that says a lot for Marinak. If he had the fastest tandem draft in practice, that means he should be very good at it in the middle of this race.
CJ LeVere dropping out for the qualifying session. Tequila Joe right now on the pole, and very interesting as we start seeing these times start to come in. Your points leaders, Bobby Terrell and Stefan Marinak, both kind of falling towards the tail end of this field. Bobby Terrell right now sitting in 12th in qualifying. Stefan Marinak 22nd. I think there's a little bit of strategy to be played here, Harry, and correct me if I'm wrong. These guys are going to sit back a little bit. These guys are going to let all the problems happen in front of them, and when the time is right, they can figure out a way up through this field.
Yeah, a lot of drivers like to take varying strategies in this race. You'll see a lot of guys who are up there in points start in the back intentionally, try to stay out of trouble, and then really go for it towards the end. A lot of other drivers think, you know what, the safest place I could be is up front. Marinak's first lap was pretty slow on the track, and I think that was because he was way high on the track, carrying that momentum, just put it P2 on the charts, not enough to knock off Tequila Joe, but up to 2nd place for him. But we will see definitely a bunch of guys taking it easy, running in the back, I do believe.
A lot of guys taking it easy to begin with, and one of those guys, Bobby Terrell, he won the race here when they ran the spring race at Talladega. He only led 4 laps, but it was the 4 laps he needed to finish with the win. CJ LeVere finished 7th on this group. Stefan Marinac finished 18th last time we were at Talladega, so that could explain why Marinac has no problems starting in towards the end of this field, and Bobby Terrell a little bit more comfortable starting right in the middle. Last time he won this, he started 7th place. He started in the 6th place position.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell. The thing that's going to be interesting is I'm not sure if he has a partner squared away. That's just something that he was a little curious about. And starting in the middle of the pack, sometimes a lot of these drivers have figured out who they're going to work with already, and then qualifying sort of splits them all up. Where I think early on in this race, you'll see drivers up front go to the back, pick up their partners, start working together. But it's something that you can get away with here. Track position doesn't mean as much as it does at other tracks. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out and who matches up with who and who comes to the front once they all get paired up.
Last week we were at the Tri-Oval at Charlotte, one of the most storied tracks in all of NASCAR, and it was Stefan Marinac winning that one. Bobby Terrell in second. Bobby Terrell, Stefan Marinac now tied for points. Both these guys realizing whatever they do tonight, there will be a change in the lead, and they could go to either one of your top competitors.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. They've been trading it off just about every week. It goes without saying that this will continue all the way to Homestead, the final race of the year. It's no telling who's going to be the champion of the Asphalt Assault Series. However, it does look like it's a 2-horse race, but the top 2 in points between Marinac and Terrell, they can't afford to have any mistakes because that'll bring CJ LeVere right back into the mix, be a 3-horse race go down into Homestead.
Let's go ahead and kick it down trackside for the festivities. Let's start with our very own Cactus Cuties with their rendition of this great nation's national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The Cactus Cuties with always their classy rendition of this great nation's national anthem, and the Virtual Thunderbirds with the flyover. We thank them for their service to this great country as we celebrate here at Talladega Superspeedway. 20 seconds left before they go to grid. Harry, we saw a lot of cool paint schemes tonight going through the field, going through practice and in qualifying. What was your favorite so far in the field?
You know, what I'm really liking are the retro paint schemes that we see. I know Randall Watkins is running a midnight car made famous by Rusty Wallace. Now, he does not want to end up like Rusty Wallace did here 20 years ago, flipping down the front stretch after contact from Dale Earnhardt, but I love seeing Midnight back on the track.
Midnight back on the track is always a cool one. I've got my eye on the man starting first on this field, Jose Gonzalez. When we get to grid here, take a look at that car. Speedy Gonzalez right there on the hood, making it work for him. You know, you got to have a sense of humor to have, being named Gonzalez and have Speedy right there working with you on your hood.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Nickname that maybe has come into the foray. Last couple of weeks, we've been calling him Speedy Gonzalez, and it's really apt. Hey, his last name's Gonzalez, and he runs up front. He competes for these wins, and he's really playing up to it right now. And also on the front row, shades of Ricky Bobby. We have a Wonder Bread car painted just like the movie that Marinac is going to try to summon to good use to here at Talladega.
Hey, remember, Harry, if you're not first, you're last.
That is exactly right. And Kurt Busch is going to be trying the same thing on Sunday at Talladega. So a lot of nice looking paint schemes here tonight.
And I think Stefan Marinac has that advantage too, that he's got to win this race. He's got to stay in front of Bobby Terrell, because if he doesn't walk away with the points lead tonight, it could very well turn into, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to gain and a lot to lose tonight.
Drivers meeting pretty much coming to an end. Let's go ahead and take you down the starting grid here at Talladega Superspeedway. Still waiting on the appearance of Jose Gonzalez. He will start on the very top of this field, turning in a qualifying time 53.376. Speedy does it again, but there he is. The Speedy Gonzalez shows up on the grid. Outside of him, the man tied for first in points, Stefan Marinac in the 24 machine. He will start shotgun on this field.
In row number 2, we've got two solid qualifying runs for Mark Bratcher starting third and Hollis Vanderloon starting fourth.
Rich Jett in the 32 machine will start on the inside of row number 3. Outside of him, Randall Watkins in the midnight car. He will start sixth in the 77 machine.
Starting 7th will be Brian Harvey. Alongside of him, the 42 car of Jimmy Jones.
Chad Coleman in the 6 starts on the inside of row number 5. Outside of him, Mike Shelton in the 34 starts 10th.
Starting 11th will be the number 11 of Stephen Maddox, and starting 12th, the 33, Dave Lanza.
One of your administrators here at Real Sim Racing, John Abbott, starts 13th in the 10 car. Outside him, the man second fastest in practice, Steve Almindo, starts in 14th in the 81 machine.
Row number 8 has the 7 car. That's our tied points leader, Bobby Terrell, starting 15th, and starting 16th, Douglas Wyatt.
The 00 buckshot of Mike Perry starts 17th. Outside of him, A.J. Browning looking to rifle his way through the field in 18th.
Starting 19th, we have the 16 car of Marvin Turnmeyer Jr. Alongside of him, the 48 of Frank Coons.
Keith Brooks Jr. in the 78 starts 21st. Outside of him, a fixture here at Real Sim Racing, John Wilco in the 62 starts 22nd.
Starting 23rd, the number 09 of John Ellers. Alongside of him, the 99 of Josh Cheney.
The 03 of Nathan Bowers and the 4 of CJ LaVere will be the last ones to take time on this field, resulting in a 25th and 26th place start. On the very tail end of this field, it will be Rhett McBride in the 2, Joey Katana in the 14, Barry Hines in the 3, and Ed Williams Jr. in the 65. 30 cars in tonight's race. Harry, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, everything and anything can go wrong, but you know what's interesting about Talladega is sometimes you get these big fields and then they go green almost the entire way, if not the entire way, so this could be a great one.
You're assuming, however, the big one's not going to happen, and you and I both know what that means.
When you assume, you are likely to be wrong. That's not quite the way the quote goes, but hey.
Well, okay, I'll give you that one. You can have that. Pace car makes its way down pit road. It means only one thing. We're going green flag racing, and it all starts with Jose Gonzalez starting on shotgun on this field. Green flag flies. We are racing, and he wastes no time claiming lap number 1 for himself. Mark Bratcher, Stefan Marinac now doing battle side by side for the second place position. Marinac, no one to help him out. Mark Bratcher will get some help from the 18. That's Hollis Vanderloon. Now the 24 catch up Tequila Joe. Tandems are starting. Grab a dance partner while you can.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Jose Gonzalez really jumped out on that restart. That was about as early as you could go, right at the beginning of that tri-oval, and now Marinac has matched up with that 26 car. However, there are a lot of cars low And Mark Bratcher on the low side in that MagnaFlow Pro car, looking to lead the first lap. Doesn't look like the outside lane has anything yet, but the Marinac in the 24 and Gonzalez in the 26, they are nose to tail, about to try to pull some momentum together.
A menage a trois around position number 7. It's the 66 machine, the 42, and the 34 and the 6 machine. That's going to be Brian Harvey in front of that group, Mike Shelton right in the middle, and Chad Coleman in the 6, tagging along for the ride. But, you know, 3 is always company. You start to see now the top two of those groups starting to break away. 66 and 34 starting to get away. 6, no help, needs help from the 42 of Jimmy Jones. Jimmy Jones looking to get up to him, but just doesn't have the run with him. Steve Maddox now hooked up with Bobby Terrell, and Bobby Terrell in 12th, starting to make his way to the field.
Yeah, that's the first pairing for Bobby Terrell. Hooked up with Steven Maddox in the 11. He's gained a few spots so far in this race, but Bobby looking for the switch right now. Actually, possibly thinking of matching up with the 42 of Jimmy Jones. Now, Jimmy Jones in the 42 down there, we haven't seen him very much in this series, as actually the 7 looks to his outside, possibly to lead that tandem. But Jimmy Jones, we haven't seen too often, making possibly his first start of the season tonight. I may be wrong on that, but a few guys we haven't seen too much of, definitely looking to be a part of this race at Talladega.
The 7 of Bobby Terrell gets hooked up once again with the 11 of Steve Maddox. That extended switch they did between them is going to open the door for the 33. Now the 42 hooks up with the 33, and they're going. The 81 and 12 have caught up with that group. The 00 machine of Mike Perry, he doesn't know where to go. He's going to try to run in line with the 42 and 33 and see if he can prove that he's faster than the rest of those kids in front of him. They've all caught up to the 6 machine. That is Chad Coleman. Chad Coleman now needs to figure out who he's going to go dancing with. The 00 looking to make it 3 wide. He's looking for a dance partner. No say bueno yet. The 7 and 6 hook up, 42 and 33 hook up. So now the 11 looking for some help, and it will come in the form. And the 10, oh, 42 spinning now. 33, cars everywhere.
Oh, and Bobby Terrell involved in this one. Not sure how torn up his car is, but he made contact, heavy contact on the right front of his machine coming through that. That is the risk here with Talladega, trying to come up through that field. You were just a part of it. I did not see how it started, but that wreck started right up front with these leaders.
Replay is up right now, and you are watching it live with a 38 and 18. 18 looks like he was trying to either let the 32 and 77 by or try to hook up with the 38. Didn't work in any event. Those two cars get around, and that's going to cause some trouble in the back or the rear ends, echelons of the field. 42 gets around, 5 gets heavy damage, and most importantly, the 7 machine. That is Bobby Terrell. Not only did he make some contact with the wall, it looks like he also made contact with that spinning machine, that spinning 18 machine of Hollis Vanderloon. Heavy right front damage, as you said, Harry, and that could change the complexion of his night tonight entirely.
Yeah, damage here is something that you don't want to have. It's really hard to make it up. Chad Coleman involved in this, Jimmy Jones, Hollis Vanderloon, and really the start of this wreck is good intentions leading to a bad result. As Hollis Vanderloon and the 38 of Bratcher switched, the 32 of Rich Jett was working with Randall Watkins, and they were about to scoot on by, and Hollis Vanderloon tried to complete the switch early enough to not hold up the guys on the bottom, but he just wasn't clear. And so he came up into the 38 trying to stay out of the way, but sometimes that's a result. That's a big crash. Tough break for the 7 most of all, because he has the most to lose right now.
Heavy black smoke coming out of the 6 machine. That is Chad Coleman. For all intents and purposes, his night is done here. He will pull it into his pit stall and look for him to pull it behind the garage and call it a night. The 34 machine also down on pit road. The 18 machine, that is Hollis Vanderloon. He's going to spend a lot of time in pit road. His car might be done as well. Trouble already. It's only lap 6. And if that gives you any idea of what we're going to see for the next 88 laps, get ready for the best of the best. It's going to be Survivor Series all night long.
Yeah, and while a tandem racing doesn't bring together these huge packs, these drivers can still make mistakes and people can get heavily involved, as you saw. because with all the switching and all the keeping your motors clean, or excuse me, keeping your cars clean, the guy pushing has a hard time of seeing around the car that he is pushing, and so you're really trusting people out there, and you're putting your car in positions that is very out of the ordinary compared to most tracks on the schedule. And so Bobby Tyrrell is going to have to see what he could do about that damage. If he's got an engine and he could get most of that repaired, he could be a pretty good pusher, possibly even a pushy, but more than likely that car will not feel good out front. But sometimes you could get lucky here and sustain some damage and retain speed in the draft, but if your nose is in fresh air, that's probably where he's going to be at his most vulnerable.
Another retiree on the field is the 33 of David Lanza. After that heavy contact, he is done for the night. He will pull it behind the garage and call it a night. Hard way to go out for both Coleman and Lanza. Mike Shelton in the 34 machine still on pit road. The 42 of Jimmy Jones now on pit road, trying to get a lot of damage taken care of out there. Hollis Vanderloon remains on pit road. Not sure if they're going to be able to salvage the 18 machine or not, but even if they do, it's going to be a hard night for him to recover from.
Yeah, he possibly has the most damage out of anybody in the field. Not sure if his engine was smoking when he came into the pits. The six car certainly was smoking, and I don't believe Chad Coleman will be able to bring his car back out on the track unless he's able to crawl around and get some points. But he's not running in the points. But that's a tough break because Chad Coleman also is one of those guys who runs up front in this league every week. And he likes this racing at Talladega here, where you just knew that he'd be competing for the win. In fact, I thought he was going to be hooking up with the 7 of Bobby Tyrrell. He was looking for a dance partner early on. Hadn't really solidified a dance partner at that point, but he just hooked up with Tyrrell when that accident broke out. So certainly a lot of contenders there being taken out in that one.
A lot of contenders, a lot of guys that could have run strong all night long. I believe it was Jimmy Jones, he was commenting, a lot of guys out here that could have run strong were involved in that incident, and that is going to change the entire complexion of the race. Another 2 retirees tonight, Mark Brachter, Hollis Vanderloon, both calling it a night. They will finish 28th and 27th respectively. Mark Brachter, he's a guy who's been pretty much a fixture here at Real Sim Racing. You don't want to see someone go out quite like that, and that's going to hurt him not only tonight but going into next season.
Yeah, that's a situation that you just hate to see. Certainly, it just it cuts your momentum so quickly when you have a promising run go sour like that. Those two were completing a switch in the lead as they were about to lose the lead. And so those drivers qualified 3rd and 4th, were running up front, and that's where it started. So that's probably the most disappointing thing of all. If you wreck while running 25th, unable to make a charge, it's still extremely frustrating, but you can sit there and realize, okay, we didn't have the car to win, no big loss. But when you're up there for the lead and your race gets cut short, it's just very, very sour feeling.
It definitely is, especially for Mark Brachter out there. A strong competitor in 24 starts, 4 top 5s, 7 top 10s. If he could run a whole season, I think he really could have been one of the names we would be talking about tonight at the top of the points lead.
Yeah, he's a driver who, over the course of the last couple of years, has become more and more competitive, and he's one of the drivers who made the chase on our Monday night series here at RSR, their Full Throttle Cup series. Brachter making the chase, running top 5 at multiple tracks, but he's had some sour luck there too as well. And so certainly for his team, and he just hasn't had the runs lately that he's been looking for. A lot of tough luck for Mark Brachter.
Lots of tough luck for Mark Brachter. Lights are off on the pace car. 1 more to go before we're back to green flag racing. We will go back to green flag racing on lap number 9. It'll be Rich Jett on the inside, Randy Watkins on the outside in the 77 machine, Brian Harvey, Jose Gonzalez in the second row, Stefan Marinac and Mike Perry in row number 3. And then there's going to be the 7 machine of Bobby Tyrrell relegated all the way to 19th. We talked earlier in the race that something catastrophic had to happen to both the 7 and the 24. That something catastrophic has happened to the 7. CJ LaVere, who is 3rd in points right now, restarts in the 21st position. he needs something crazy to happen to 24 in order for him to get back into contention, which after seeing one leader get involved in a big incident, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
No, Marinak has a lot to lose, and he probably has a lot to worry about. But running right there in 5th. However, you know, we just saw that wreck start in 1st and 2nd. And so there's really no safe place on this track unless you're all alone up there in the lead. And if you're all alone up there in the lead, you're about to lose it because you don't have any help. But Marinak just, this is a long race too. We've got 80 laps to go once we take this green flag. And so the 7 car, Terrell, simply is not going to give up. He's repaired a lot of his damage, but not all of it. I still believe he has some more to go. Once he gets that all repaired, he might be healthy enough to make a charge here and salvage what he can, possibly even contend. That's to be determined. We simply don't know as of right now, but the pace car is about to turn in, and we're going to set these guys free once again.
And they will be set free one more time on lap number 9. Pace car gets the heck out of the way, and now it's time to go super speedway racing once again. Rich Jett, Randall Watkins starting 1st and 2nd. Stefan Marinak in the top 5. The 32 sees the green. It's time to go green flag racing. Rich Jett gets the jump, and once again he's going to go without a dance partner. Randy Watkins will probably go with him. Brian Harvey, Stefan Marinak jumping together now. Now the 00 wants a part of it as well. It is a big group leading through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, that 00 Mike Perry feels like the odd man out. Sometimes being that 3rd man in line just leaves you holding on for dear life. So the 00 Mike Perry going to be looking for a partner here. Right now up front we do see Rich Jett in the 32 working with Randall Watkins in the 77, and those two were paired up in the first run of the race leading to that first caution. They were actually taking the lead when that caution happened, and so those two working together fairly well right from the start, and starting where they left off here as they're going to come around. Rich Jett's looking to lead this lap as they take lap 10.
Continuing on the field, they're starting to pair up. Jett and Watkins, 1st and 2nd. It's going to be Brian Harvey and Stefan Marinak joining up together as well. Now Jose Gonzalez has to figure out who he's going to run with, and all indications is going to be Steve Almindo who's going to run with him. Doug Wyatt, Rhett McBride going to back up together as well, and now the rest of the field starting to get scattered by who exactly they're going to run with. Big lines don't work here as it would in the trucks or in the Cup Series. Here it's all about tandem racing and who your partner is all throughout this race, and what you do with them and how you run with them out here on the field.
Yeah, it's surrounding the 00 car right now. You see a lot of cars working around him. However, 00 Perry just possibly found himself a partner there as we see the 2 car of Rhett McBride pull up right up on him. Meanwhile, on the high side, above these guys, Jose Gonzalez in the 26, 81 of Almindo. And Almindo was one of those guys at the top of the practice chart. Clearly has some speed in this tandem draft, able to do it pretty well. And so that Parts Plus pink 81 right now paired up with Gonzalez in the 26. But they just weren't able to get paired up exactly solidly, and it looks like they're going for a switch now. So the 26 of Gonzalez going to pull in behind the 81 and see if he can push better, but a lot of lost momentum there as the 12 tries to hang with them. But a lot of split up here in the middle of the pack as people just trying to feel their way around.
A lot of guys trying to feel their way around this track, trying to make it work for them. I'm keeping an eye on the 48 of Frank Coons and the 42 of Jimmy Jones. They were involved in a big draft earlier. Marvin Turnmeyer in the 16, the 3 of Barry Hines also involved in that group. And now here comes the 99 and 4. That's the 4 of CJ LeVere hooked up with the 99 machine. That's Josh Cheney. And now they're starting to make a run out here, but they're going into a minefield. Everybody trying to make the tandem switch. The 4 now gets around. 4 into the 42. They are going around into the infield. Heavy damage on CJ LeVere. Something catastrophic needed to happen for him. Unfortunately, he is the victim of it.
Wow, and I don't believe the caution flag has been thrown out yet because both those cars were cleaned out to the apron. Simply a tandem draft gone wrong. Josh Cheney trying to get badged up with the 4, hit him a little bit before the straightaway, sent the 4 hard into the inside wall. Jimmy Jones also sustaining damage in that. These guys remain green out here though. They got cleaned out to the apron there, and they keep it green flag racing.
99 gives him the bump draft just coming off of turn number 2. Not where you want to be bump drafting, enough to send the 4 off track into the 42, and both those get cleaned off into the infield, into the tarmac out there on the infield. CJ LeVere, heavy hit into the wall, goes spinning around. Jimmy Jones also heavy front end damage for that machine. Both those machines could be done. They're on pit road. The 4 of CJ LeVere wrecked and pulls it into the wall, and CJ LeVere is done for the night. Jimmy Jones into his stall. He might try to salvage that machine, but there may going to be a whole lot to salvage if he cannot stay in the draft. Green flag remains on the field. We are still green flag racing, tandem driving all throughout this track. It's Stefan Marinak now in the lead. Brian Harvey giving him the push with 2 tandems behind him. Would love to have that position.
Yeah, and right now Marinak leading the entire field to this point. That is exactly where he wants to be. That's probably the safest place without giving up too much track position to where you lose the draft. But right now we've got about 3 tandem drafts up here in the front. As you mentioned, Marinak and Harvey working together. Then we've got the 77, Randall Watkins working with the 32 of Rich Jett, and Rhett McBride and Mike Perry running 5th and 6th right here in this pack. And that's the double zero. Mike Perry looks like he couldn't get a partner at all early on. Got matched up with Rhett McBride running about 15th, and now these guys are running up front as they try to make a charge to the outside. New leader Randall Watkins. We're going to see a lot of lead changes in this one. This tandem drafting and switching just lends itself to a lot of lead changes.
A lot of lead changes, a lot of crazy driving, a lot of power driving out there. Randy Watkins now in the lead. Rich Jett in second. Rhett McBride, one of your top 10 drivers here in the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault B Series, running strong in the top of the field. He currently is going to be between second and third, getting the push from Mike Perry, who I believe is a newcomer to this series. Stefan Marinak, Brian Harvey drops back to 5th and 6th, and then there's Joey Katina and Nathan Bowers. Now, Joey Katina is 1 lap down. He's a first car lap down, currently being scored 22nd on this field. It's not going to stop the 0-3, though, from trying to hook up with him and see if they can get a run up front. But behind them, that's going to get stopped by Tequila Joe and Steve Maddox. These guys are looking stronger and stronger with every lap. Now going to make the tandem switch at 26, gives the 11 the position. Speedy Gonzalez going to do the pushing for a change.
Yeah, that 26 Gonzalez been working with the 11 Maddox pretty much all race, settled into 7th and 8th right now, and just trying to see what they have right now. As you mentioned, a lot of times people will use lapped cars to their advantage. As we ride on board with Jose Gonzalez, you get a glimpse into just how much visibility they actually have here. You are really driving through the person that you are working with, and a lot of times you'll see them duck out like right there, try to get a view and see what's going on. But there's a lot of trust going on when you're the pusher. You're really letting the car in front of you lead you, and but you see these guys taking it easy a little bit right now.
Whoever the 0-3 is pushing has disappeared. We'll have to check out what's going on with him, and that's going to hurt the 0-3 as he's got no one to draft with. That's Nathan Bowers. He's going to need some help to figure out who he's going to draft with. Draft tandem's coming behind him. He may not be able to hold him behind. The next tandem to go by is going to be the 78 of Keith Brooks and the 09 of John Ehlers. They're going to get by real quick. Back up front, still 6 cars in control of this field. It all starts with the 32 of Rich Jett. Randy Watkins in the 77, right behind him. The 00, the 2 working together, and now the 24 and 66 making a big change.
Yeah, still the same top 6 cars up front. No one behind them able to make that run, that big push forward. But Rich Jett, Randall Watkins really solidifying themselves as we reach about a quarter point of the race here in a few laps. They've been up front since the drop of the green flag. Now those 2 drivers started in 5th and 6th, paired up early on, and they've been running in the top 4 seemingly all race long. And I believe both of those drivers might be looking for their first wins of the season. Rich Jett, a winner earlier this year in the Full Throttle Cup Series, looking to get some more action in victory lane.
And one guy that's struggling right now on the field is a 7 machine of Bobby Terrell. Remember, he was involved in the first incident tonight. He is now being scored in the 20th place position, just a light year away from your leaders out there. So Terrell, if he continues to run like this, he will lose his share of the points lead, and he's going to drop a lot of points unless he can get up and find a way to at least get in the top 10.
Yeah, when you're Bobby Terrell right now, that is the most helpless feeling in the world because he hasn't been able to get enough damage fixed. His car is running about 7 or 8 tenths off the pace as far as a single solo lap pace, and he's just helpless out there right now, just hoping for a caution so he can repair more of his car, possibly get in the running. The one good thing about Talladega is attrition, and so despite the fact that his car is the slowest vehicle on the entire track right now, he is running 20th out of 30, which goes to show you that Marinak has a lot to lose, because any little problem at all, and he could find himself running in 19th very easily. In fact, those cars running 18th and 19th right now, pretty clean vehicles, just running nose to tail, biding their time, taking it easy. That's the two-car tandem of Ed Williams Jr. and John Wilco. But right now, Marinak been one of those drivers that has kept himself in the top 6. And I think after that early wreck, those guys up front really don't want to see another.
The 0-3 now is a new dance partner in the 99 of Josh Chaney. He was up with Tequila Joe earlier, now relegated to 16th position. The 48 of Frank Coons, nowhere to go out there. He's going to have to run by himself and figure it out on this field. 6 cars control the fate of this field, now make it 4. Will this continue? Only one way to find out. You're watching ETV Live's coverage of the Talladega Super Speedway event here at Real Sim Racing, the Asphalt Assault B Series. Who's going to win it? Still plenty of racing left to go. Stay tuned, race fans. We'll be back in a moment.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4, and the checkered flag, he wins his first. InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Currently scoring lap 24 here at Talladega Super Speedway. It is the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault B Series presented by Inside Sim Racing. It's right now you're riding with Marvin Turnmeyer Jr. on the 16 machine. He's running strong with the 3 of Barry Hines. The 77 machine though starting to drop off. That's Randall Watkins, and it looks like he might have some damage, or he might be just trying to cool that engine down on that 77 machine after running tandem so long.
Yeah, you know, it's very interesting what's set up there. As the 32 of Rich Jet actually left the 77 of Randall Watkins, who he's been working with all race, and he started working with Bobby Terrell, who just lost that lap, trying to put himself in a position to get a lucky dog or get back on the lead lap without having to rely on the lucky dog. And the 7 car is showing that when he gets into a tandem draft, despite his damage, he's able to keep up. And that's simply because working with another competitor like this really puts a lot of emphasis on the competitor that you're working with to carry your car. And so Bobby right now is showing these guys, hey, I can still compete here if you work with me. And so that's what this is going to help him later on when he gets back on the lead lap, should he get back on the lead lap if we get a caution.
So Marvin Turnmeyer Jr. now back on the lead lap in the 16 car, the 3 of Barry Hines. Right behind him, giving him the tandem push. And the thing that entertains me about Barry Hines in that 3 machine, look what he's doing right now. He's not in a hurry to get around. He's not in a hurry to make the tandem switch. Instead, in the turns, you see him just rocking back and forth, getting as much cold air as he can into that engine before he has to push a 16 again, once again on those long front stretches. Interesting strategy here by the 3 to keep his engine cool and keep the 16 moving forward. They've caught up to the 26 of Jose Gonzalez and the 11 of Steve Maddox.
Yeah, what's extremely beneficial about running behind that 2-car tandem of the 11 of Maddox and the 26 of Gonzalez is that he can really afford to back off of the 16, and that draft kind of keeps them with him. And so Barry Hines playing it pretty smart here. When you put your the front end of your car out that much, it does cool your engine, it does slow your tandem down. However, they're using that draft where it's working out to where if they were switching more, they'd be losing more time. So it's very smart driving. Barry Hines in that number 3. See, it's sponsored by Buck's Wrecker Service out of Thomasville, North Carolina, which is actually the hometown of NASCAR driver Brian Vickers. So just give a shout out. Nice to see a local sponsor on that car. And these 2 right now, moving past the 11 of Maddox and the 26 Gonzalez, that's going to put them in the 6th and 7th position. So both those drivers having a pretty good run right now.
Both those drivers having a great run. Now the 16, 16 gets a little bit loose. The 3 may have pushed him just a little bit too hard. He's able to save it. Marvin Turnmeyer Jr. makes it work. The 3 of Barry Hines got to be a little bit more careful as he pushes his tandem partner up front. Steve Maddox, Jose Gonzalez about to pounce and make that move work. Meanwhile, up front, it's Rhett McBride working with Mike Perry. They're going to run 3rd and 4th right now. The 2 of Rhett McBride, another strong competitor here at Real Sim Racing in the B Series, currently being scored 4th in points behind CJ LaVere, Stefan Marinac, and Bobby Terrell. So Rhett McBride, an excellent competitor, never count him out. He's going to lead that lap and pick up an extra bonus point. He might be out of the championship, but he is not out of being a contender.
Yeah, and he's 4th in points. Now quite a ways back where he's just about mathematically eliminated from contending for that title. But what a run right now. He's a driver who can win on any given week. And I tell you what, he's one of those drivers who decided to start in the back. He qualified 27th here without putting up a time, has moved up to the lead in 26 laps that he took the lead. But working with Mike Perry, both those drivers simply did not have someone to work with. They got together, and they've really been putting that tandem to good use. These 2 drivers are doing it very well. As you see them get a little bit wiggly coming through the tri-oval, that is surprisingly loose. The rear end of your car gets loose coming through that tri-oval. Very easy to lose the grip on the back end of that race car. As they go for the switch right here, 00 Mike Perry going to lead the 2 of Rhett McBride. As we see Marinac trying to keep that points lead right now, going on by with Brian Harvey to the lead. However, they were disconnected, and so that gives an advantage to this high side, who's going to make a big run here through 3 and 4.
The 7 of Terrell, he's a lap down, but he's going to try to get it back the hard way. He's getting a push from the 32 machine of Rich Jett. I believe those two guys are teammates, and it would behoove the 32 to help the 7 out as best he can. Bobby Terrell just looking to get his lap back at this point. He has to do one of two things right at this juncture. He's either number one, beat the first car 1 lap down in order to get the lucky dog if we have another yellow flag, or number 2, he has to stay with that group of leaders up in front of him, so that if a yellow flag does come out and he's already up there, he gets a wave around and is back on the lead lap nonetheless. So Bobby Terrell doing everything he can to try to figure out what he can do to salvage this night, because that would be a long fall from grace to be leading points, to be having a share in points going into tonight's race, and then ultimately finding yourself 20 points down.
Yeah, and he's showing that despite that damage, he can contend here, so he really wants to see that caution. It's a very helpless feeling when you're out there just hoping and hoping you could get that caution, get you back on the lead lap, give you some time to work with. See, we've still got about 58 laps to go as we cross the line this time by, but I tell you what, if that caution doesn't come out, about 40 minutes from now, goes by in a flash here at Talladega. A lot of these guys exhibiting a lot of patience, driving pretty smart, but it's so easy to make a mistake here, especially with the bump drafting in these 2-car tandems, that any slight misjudgment can result in that wreck. But something to look out for, because as we see the field spread out, if contact is made and a car is sent to the apron, it might not bring out the caution. So there's a lot of hoping, a lot of praying in the 7 pit right now, just wanting to see that caution flag. A lot of these other guys, including Stefan Marinak, might want to see it stay green.
2 more retirees on this field. It will be Joey Gatana and Jimmy Jones, both retiring on this field. They will finish 23rd and 22nd right there. Car spinning, more trouble on the track.
Yeah, the 99 of Josh Chaney's around on the backstretch. Just as we're wondering if we're going to catch that caution, looks like Josh Chaney was working with the 03 of Nathan Bowers, and he misjudged where the 03 was going down the backstretch, and that literally what we call bumper hooks you. It sent him off of him, as we're about to take a look at this replay. But a single car incident, close call for Josh Chaney. He's got some rear end damage. We'll have to see how his car can compete here. He's been in the running all race. But that's exactly what Bobby Terrell needed. He's going to find himself in the lucky dog position, get himself back in the lead lap.
Josh Chaney, his back end just absolutely crumpled in out there. That will hurt his aerodynamic ability and could effectively end his night. If you're the driver of that number 7 machine, though, this is exactly what you wanted to see. Bobby Terrell in 20th position. He'll get his lap back if everything works out correctly. Not only that, but he'll also be able to come down pit road with everybody else to refuel and try to get some more of that damage repaired.
Yeah, and I do think he has some more damage needing to be repaired. I don't think he got all of it taken care of. And so we saw him being able to keep up with that lead draft. And you have to wonder now if Rich Jett is going to fade to the back, pick up Bobby Terrell, and then the 2 of them make a big run towards the front. But Bobby is going to stay out this time, get the wave around, then come in, try to fix all the damage that he can. But certainly he's showing, you know what, he can run these tandem drafts right now. Might not be such a bad night for that 7 car.
If he can keep running the tandem draft, he can keep staying competitive, he might be able to get back up front, and it might still be a competitive points battle between those 2. This time they're looking to come down pit road. Who's going to come down? Everybody, and it looks like this 26 is going to come down, overshoots his pit. The 24 of Stefan Marinak also coming down. The 2 of Rhett McBride came down pit road that time.
Yeah, most of this is just get enough fuel to make it to the end, and that's about it. Tires are not a factor here. Unless you slide them really hard, lock up the tires, and you're going to go get tires just to make sure that the car rotates as good as it has to. But rotation, not a big deal. Here's this contact exiting pit road. The 26 and the 09 of John Ellers just get together completely randomly. I think they lost each other in each other's tracks. I'm not sure what just happened there.
Not sure what just happened. We'll have to take a look and see what exactly happened between those 2. John Ellers is just trying to figure out what exactly happened and try to figure out why the 26 or how the 26 got into them. As we look back at the replay right now, not sure how Tequila Joe and the 09 of John Ellers may have got in contact with each other and went spinning around. I think maybe on that pit stop, Tequila Joe may have stopped for a shot or 2.
Yeah, it looks like the 26 car was in the 09's blind spot, And so Ehlers might have been fixing his wheel or messing around real quick, looking at his F keys, seeing how much fuel he has left for the rest of the race. And he was just casually pulling left a little bit, but Gonzalez was casually alongside of him, a couple of lanes to the left. And so both those drivers, there's a little bit of left rear damage to the 09. Looking real quick at the 26 of Gonzalez, he's got a little bit of damage, but it is fairly minor, where he's probably going to come in next time by and repair what he's got. But I would say 20 seconds of damage or less for that 26 car of Gonzalez. But that's a very random thing to happen here. And at Talladega, you don't expect to sustain damage exiting the pits on the front stretch. But that's exactly what just happened here.
Right front quarter panel damage on the 26, the Speedy Gonzalez machine of Jose Gonzalez, as the 2 of Rhett McBride now comes down pit road. He missed his pit style entirely last time by, so now he's going to come back in, take some tires, and take fuel for the long run. Also coming in this time by, the 78 of Keith Brooks Sr. is going to come down pit road. The 82 machine of Rich Jett that was working with that 7 machine of Bobby Terrell, he will come in this time by. And now Bobby Terrell has his lap back. Also getting his lap back is Frank Coons in the 48 machine. The 99 machine also down on pit road. That's Josh Chaney. He's going to get some damage repaired in that machine and try to stay competitive. The 7 machine of Bobby Terrell just coming off pit road. It was a 4-tire stop for the 7 machine, and it looks like some more damage to be repaired as he's now back on pit road and back off pit road. He's going to fall in behind the 03 machine of Nathan Bowers.
Yeah, and with Rich Jett pitting this lap with the lapped cars, I think that shows that he is going to continue to work with that 7 of Bobby Terrell. Probably came up with that tag team after Terrell had some issues and went a lap down. But the 7 back on the lead lap, and I think we're going to see a big charge forward with him and Rich Jett. We saw Rich Jett running up front with the 77 and then continuing to run up front with the 7. Another thing to look out for, Rhett McBride, who missed his stall. Mike Perry in the 00, who he was working with so incredibly well, staying out and not coming back in. So it's hard to say if those two will pair up once again or if Mike Perry's going to find someone new to work with up there. But a lot of switching around here as we approach the halfway point in this race.
So as Rhett McBride makes the big mistake coming on pit road, he will start 14th on this field. The big winner, though, Stefan Marinak in the 24 machine. He is back up front, and he will continue to lead laps out here. Brian Harvey will start 2nd, Mike Perry 3rd, Steve Maddox 4th, Jose Gonzalez, despite that spinning incident, he will restart 5th so far, which is great because the 11 and 26 have been working so strongly together tonight. They want to do everything they can to keep them within spitting distance of each other so they can continue to work together.
And actually, the 26 Gonzalez hitting pit road now. He actually stayed out last time, which made me think as well that he would keep out there and keep his track position. However, I think his spotter let him know, you know what, I think we might as well get that damage taken care of. There's a gap between the front bumper and the hood and the front bumper and the right front quarter panel. And so it's very likely that he's got some damage that he can get repaired in his pit stall. So he comes to a stop, he is going to take tires, and he's going to fix the damage. And with only 20 cars on the lead lap, it's going to be doable for these guys to come back through the field as we see the 7 car come back down again as well with that 32 of Rich Jett. So we're going to have to look for those two to make a huge charge here when we go green.
Huge charge will absolutely be necessary if they want to get back up front and get back with a chance to win it. Pace lights should go off this time by, so Stefan Marinak will be in charge of the field. Brian Harvey 2nd, Mike Perry 3rd, Steve Maddox 4th, and John Ayers 5th.
Yeah, as these caution laps at Talladega, awfully long, and I believe this racetrack, obviously always prone to have these weird occurrences, weird crashes. We just saw that pit road exit contact, which left us all wondering what was going on. Possibly has something to do with, I believe this track was built on an old Indian reservation or burial ground. Can't quite remember, but you never know. Maybe there's a little voodoo going on.
Wow. You went there.
Hey, if NASCAR on Fox could go there, I think, hey, just throw out the possibility. That's where I heard it.
All right, Harrison, I will be sure to keep that in mind next time you're lighting the candles.
Not for me. You see, I am a paranoid person. We keep away from that stuff. That's why I haven't been to Talladega yet. Or, well, I haven't been to Talladega yet because I live across the country. But let's just pretend.
You're avoiding the bad juju that Talladega has to come with.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The bad juju, the bad hoodoo, the bad voodoo, the guy that wants to avoid all three of those things, Stefan Marinak, will restart first on this field in that 24 machine. The number 7 of Bobby Terrell will restart 18th on this field. Some other notable things happening out here. Josh Chaney given an end of the longest line penalty. He will restart at the tail end of this field. John Allers will pick up some position out of that. He'll restart 5th. Steve Almindo will restart 6th. Barry Hines will restart 9th. Ed Williams Sr. 11th. John Wilco, who's always been a competitor here, 12th. And Rhett McBride, who was running so strong, running very high in position, he will be forced to restart 13th after the blown pit stop.
Yeah, Rhett McBride, I'm really curious to see who he works with. Obviously not restarting as far back as we thought he would, because a lot of guys coming back in fixing more and more damage. Mike Perry will be restarting in 3rd. You have a lot of guys here who maybe made new partners in the middle of this caution period to see who they're going to work with. But with we're going to go green with just over actually 51 laps to go exactly. So that leaves these guys a lot of time to kind of feel their way around. They can afford some of these guys up front, if their partner is in the back, they can afford to give up 10 spots, hook up, try to make a push forward. So John Wilco running as high as he has all race. We saw him playing it easy earlier on. He's going to be starting this restart behind that 77 of Randall Watkins, who we saw pushing incredibly well early on. And so that's a pair that might even get together.
Definitely a pair that could get together and ultimately work together well. We'll see how that works out here tonight, as there's still plenty of racing left to go. When we go back to Green Flag Racing, 37 will be complete. We'll be on 38 and winding down to that halfway point. You know, and at that point, it's really go time for each of these drivers, though I believe they should be able to make it on this tank of fuel. If not, they might just need one more to get it through. And if that happens, Green Flag pit stops will be very, very exciting, as they always are here at Talladega. Pace car getting ready to make the hard left turn down pit road, and it will be Stefan Marinak's field when we get ready to go Green Flag Racing momentarily. Harry, it's all yours.
Oh, Stefan Marinak pulls out real quickly to get lined up with the 66 of Brian Harvey, as a lot of these guys try to sort out who they're going to work with. Single file really quickly here. Now you see these guys switching lanes before the start-finish line. That is not a rule that will get you penalized here in the Real Sim Racing League, which is a rule that I like. It's all about the leader starts the race, and then it's a free-for-all. We see the 24 hooking up with the 66, though, and it looks like Steven Maddox and Mike Perry are the two working together right now, as they're possibly doing a quick switch here at the 00, looking to put himself in a position to possibly lead some laps. Or maybe it's Three's company up front right now. Mike Perry tries to hang with the 66.
The 00 machine, that is Mike Perry. He's going to do whatever he can to run with the 66. But 3 doesn't usually work here on this track. It's usually only a duo. The 24 and 66 know that, and they're going to keep running their line and see what the 00 does, or when the 00 makes a mistake and ends up tailing off the 11 of Steve Maddox. As a result of that, he doesn't have a dance partner at the show. He's going to get passed by the 81 of Steve Almindo, and now here comes Doug Wyatt in the 12 machine. You want to know about someone who's had a quiet night? It's Doug Wyatt, but look where he's at now. Look how he's made his way up front, and now he's vying for a top 5 position.
And that is a good-looking Miller High Life number 12. That is the retro paint scheme what Bobby Allison ran here in the late 80s, I believe. That famous car that might have had a bad incident here on the front stretch, but we don't want to talk about that right now. And jigs the 12 as he gets very sideways coming through 3 and 4. But as we saw, Mike Perry trying to make that three-way work up front. Unfortunately, that doesn't work for very long. Mike Perry unable to stay hooked up there, and now he is going backwards. We'll have to look for a partner. The 11 still looking for a partner as well, so it's very likely that those two will pair up once again, as a couple of cars exiting pit road from earlier damage, I believe. But Douglas Wyatt, Steven Almindo, right up here, and they're making a charge. They're coming for that lead, Joe.
00 machine of Mike Perry. He just, without a dancing partner, couldn't make it a menage a trois with the top guys out there. So he's going to drop back down and wait for someone to collect him. John Ellers and Randall Watkins They're not going to be the ones collecting him. Steve Maddox might, but we'll see if he does. I don't think he'll have to wait a little bit of time. The 00 times against him as he keeps dropping positions out there through the field. Battle once again up front. Stefan Marinak in front. Brian Harvey in second. Steve Almindo. Doug Wyatt now third and fourth. Doug Wyatt running that old school Miller High Life paint scheme out there. He is currently scored in the top 7 in points. He is 7th in points. So all 32 starts out here on the field, but it's been an up and down season for him. Only 1 top 5, 3 top 10s. Looking to add to both those columns tonight.
Yeah, and Douglas Wyatt, I thought that he and Steven Almindo were about to fly by Marinak and Harvey. However, last lap, coming through 3 and 4, just got a little loose, a little sideways, a little jittery coming through there. Lost a lot of momentum. The 81 Almindo backs back up to the 12 of Wyatt, and they will make another charge up to the lead. Not able to get it by that time, and the leaders actually just switched, putting Brian Harvey out front, Marinak being his pusher. Brian Harvey will lead this lap. Harvey also looking to get his first win on the season.
Let's go on board now with the 12 machine of Doug Wyatt. You can see just how close him and the 81 are running. With that onboard camera, you see just how little room for error there is between the 12 and the 81. Running dangerously close out there. All it takes is a misguided bumper, a misguided checkup, and both those cars are going to go spinning into the infield and potentially ruin both of their nights out there on the field. Pass up front for the lead. The 66 and 24 successfully make the switch. Brian Harvey will lead a lap. Stefan Marinak in the 24 content to ride on his bumper, but don't look now. Here comes the 09 of John Ehlers and the 77 of Randall Watkins. Let's see how long they're going to keep their run, though, as I think they are debating making a switch.
Yeah, you know, it's very interesting here. John Ehlers with some damage from earlier in the evening, and also the 77 of Randall Watkins, just a little bit of rear end damage. But let me tell you, whoever works with that 77 always appears in the front. Randall Watkins doing a heck of a job right now, keeping his car right on the bumper of whoever he is pushing. And it seems like whoever works with the 77 finds their way to the lead battle. The 09 losing a little bit of speed from that damage that he's got on the roof, on the left side of that car, and the left side of his rear bumper. But with the 77 pushing him, they're right in this battle. All they need is to get a little bit closer, pull some of that draft, and they'll be fighting for this lead.
Another guy battling for position is the 7 of Bobby Terrell and the 32 of Rich Jett. Both of those cars running incredibly fast out there. The 7 running faster than anybody expected them to out there, and they are going to continue to run on this field. Rich Jett, not a member of the Stroker Aces team. He is going to, he hangs his hat as an independent on this field, but Bobby Terrell, I'm sure, incredibly grateful for the help the 32 of Rich Jett is giving him. It keeps his championship hopes alive as he makes the switch with a 32. That'll put Bobby Terrell in 14th, but they are still running competitive out there, and Bobby Terrell does not know the meaning of just give up as he continues to run strong and hard out there.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell, I believe, has mentioned in his post-race interviews before that he has actually run some motocross in the past, been involved in championship and points racing, and he can handle the pressure. He's said it before. He knows what to do, and he's not going to give up, and he's been really resilient. And as he works here with Rich Jett, running in 12th and 13th right now, or 13th and 14th rather, but these two drivers here, they're going to need a caution, because when you get a lot of tandems near each other on the track, that increases the pace. These two right now, they've made up some spots, but I think they're going to need another caution. We saw when Rich Jett and Terrell were up there, they were able to really keep up with those leaders and use that draft to their advantage. But right now, as they run solo here in 13th and 14th, they're a little bit off the pace where they're fading more and more back. Track position actually is playing a part here, because those 6 tandems up front really punching a bigger hole in the air than just one tandem in the middle of the pack.
Meanwhile, the fastest car in Mexico has found his way back to the top 10 as they cross the start-finish line. That's Jose Gonzalez in the 26 machine. He's hooked up with a 99 of Josh Cheney, who's found his way back through this field. He will be 9th, and now they're starting to catch up with the tandem of the 62 and 3. That's Barry Hines in front, John Wilco in back, and almost trouble now for the 18 and the 03. These guys are one lap down, but they're going to continue to tandem draft with each other to stay competitive and see what they can make happen. Right now, both those cars not getting a whole lot happening out there. The 03 and 78 now in some dangerous waters. 99 makes contact with 78. 78 saves it, and they're going to continue green flag racing.
Yeah, the 78 was moving around a little bit, but the 99 just didn't want to lift because he wanted to keep with the 26 as they made that switch. Didn't work out very well. And I tell you what, I want to give a quick shout out right in front of those guys running in 7th and 8th. Barry Hines, we mentioned him working with another competitor earlier on. I believe it was the 09, but I might be wrong. But Barry Hines was running in the top 10. Now he has a different guy working with him. John Wilco now working with that 3 of Barry Hines. And I tell you what, they are now running 7th and 8th, doing a good job working together in the top half, more than the top half of the field. And we're currently 9 seconds behind those lead 3 tandems, but really having a good run right now.
So interesting moves happening up front now. Steve Almindo in the 81 machine, he is leading. He's getting the push from Doug Wyatt. Doug Wyatt's partner, or teammate, Stefan Marinac, is dropped all the way down to 5th. Very interesting watching the politics play out right now. Those guys are members of 2 different teams. The driver of that 12 machine is a member of the Fearless Racing Camp. The guy he is pushing, Steve Almindo, a member of the Tearless Racing Camp. So you would think the 12 would go back and try to help his teammate who's competing for a championship right now, but no dice as he's going to go around and get the lead. I think Doug Wyatt wants to pick up a big win for his own.
Oh, absolutely. Doug Wyatt doing so much for this league, especially with painting. Almost every car in this series runs a Hippie's Paint Shop car. Not everyone, but close. And Douglas Wyatt right now taking the lead after that switch, going to come around and lead this lap. The 77 gets really loose behind them, coming through that tri-oval. But the 66 of Brian Harvey, another Fearless Racing competitor, working with the Fearless Racing 24. And so it might just be one of those things where Harvey and Marinac know how each other race pretty well and just decide, you know what, let's stick together. And Harvey not pushing the 24 too aggressively right now, keeping his nose a little bit off of it in stints, trying to keep that motor cool. 78-degree temperature here in Talladega, and certainly temperatures are a factor here at Talladega.
Temperatures are a factor, humidity a factor, a lot of things a factor out here on this field. As you now see the 10 machine of John Abbott, your administrator, gets past 3 wide by the 78, the 03, the 3, and the 62. Those guys all doing battle between themselves for position. Remember, the 78 and the 03, those guys are not competing right now. They are still 1 lap down. The 3 and the 62, however, they're on the lead lap, and they need a push to get moving up front. 2 more retirees on this field, Mike Shelton and Steve Maddox. They're both going to call it a night, and I'm not exactly sure why. They may have had some damage we didn't know about.
Yeah, that 11 of Steve Maddox, he found himself running so low, ended up bringing his car to the garage at some point. I think he just never could find that partner once they got going again, and might have had some other issue that brought him to pit road. Not sure, but took it behind the wall, has loaded up the hauler, decided to leave Talladega, so it might have been checkers or leaving early. I don't know. We'll have to think of a better quote for that.
You see the 11 pulling into the pit stall. Not exactly sure why Maddox decided to call it a night, but nonetheless, he is done for the evening. He will finish top 20 on this field. The other one, Mike Shelton in the 34 machine, I believe. He will call it a night as well, but he has already had lots of damage. He was collected in an incident early that ended his night, so he will finish in the 26th position out there on the field. Meanwhile, up front, it's Hippie still trying to keep that lead. He's going to get passed by the tandem of the 66 and 24. Stefan Marinac once again leading this pack on lap 52.
Marinak back out front with the help from his teammate Brian Harvey. It remains a 6-car battle up here. One thing I want to point out real quickly, a little bit of pit strategy. Rhett McBride in the number 2, Mike Perry in the 00. They both came in, topped off their fuel tanks, come back out. They are 1 lap down, but they can make it on fuel. So they did a little bit of strategy there to come in, make sure that they can make the distance, hooked back up. Currently 1 lap down though, and I think they lost more time than they intended to, but they are hooked back up running 17th and 18th. But it remains a 6-car battle up here up front, only 13 on the lead lap right now. Marinak continuing to leading laps. Don't believe the 7 of Bobby Terrell was able to get a bonus point, so that is another thing to look at in this. But I tell you what, the 7, it could have been worse, got involved in that first wreck, but he's running 11th right now, so he's been methodically moving his way forward as he tries to recover from that early incident.
The 24, Stefan Marinak, methodically moving his way forward with the help of the 66 of Brian Harvey. Can Marinak hold off the charge of Bobby Terrell, now in 12th? Well, half of a race left to go. Well, to see who's going to walk away from Talladega with the big points lead. Stay tuned, race fans. You are watching Real Sim Racing here on ETV Live. It's the Asphalt Assault B Series. More racing after this.
Join 5,000 plus other listeners where you can hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV Live Sports Radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com. If you're a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50 caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products reasonably priced at DerekSpearDesigns.com and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
Sponsoring the Thursday night Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series, Inside Sim Racing is your first and best choice for all the news and reviews in online motorsports. Join Darren Ganji and Sean Cole for the latest and greatest in product reviews, simulation auto racing games for the PC and Xbox crowd, from steering wheels to full-size racing rigs, updates on popular racing games, and a whole lot more. It's the Yellow Pages of online auto racing. Inside Sim Racing has it all. Visit them at isrtv.com. Proud to be a partner of the Thursday night Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series. And what a show they are putting on here tonight, Harry. Lots of drivers out here looking for time, but pit stops have to be a factor as they get ready to make what could be their final pit stop tonight.
Yeah, all these drivers going to have to come in soon, get fuel and go. And we mentioned not long ago the 00 Mike Perry and the 2 of Rhett McBride came down pit road, and however, we wondered how they lost the lap, because usually you want to stay about 40 seconds behind the leader in that situation. The 00 just trying to get too much on pit road entry, came in, was speeding, but it was on entry, so he served a 15-second penalty, and he was off. And then the 2 of Rhett McBride waited up for him. So that's a 15 seconds that's going to be extremely hard to make up. That's something that these drivers really have to look out for, as that is not a mistake that anyone in the top 6 can afford to make.
One of the top 6, or let alone anybody throughout this field out here, you make that mistake, you make that wrong move, and that's going to cost you. You're not going to go anywhere anytime soon out there. Marvin Turnmeyer Jr., your next retiree on this field. He will retire in the 21st position in that 16 car. It's going to be Stefan Marinac and Brian Harvey now leading this field. Then it's John Allers and Randall Watkins running back and forth. But don't count out Almindo in Wyatt in the 81 and 12. It's 6 cars once again controlling the fate of this race. Next car running nearest to them is going to be Rich Jett, once again giving the push to Bobby Terrell. Bobby Terrell has worked his way up from 19th when we restarted from that second yellow flag all the way up to 8th now. That will help him, but the problem is, unless he can get right there with Stefan Marinac, he is going to walk away at least 8 points behind Stefan Marinac.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to make this up. He probably is going to need another caution or a mistake on pit road from the 24. Certainly 15 seconds back on the track. Marinac not looking to make any mistakes. He probably knows that he has a lot to lose and will be taking it pretty easy. However, as Terrell and Jett work their way up to 7th and 8th, that is as high as they've come all race. They're going to need that caution, but they can legitimately finish 7th and 8th in this race. In a 30-car field where you get wrecked early on, Bobby might be like, you know what, I'll take it, and then go on to the final 3 races and try to get 3 wins. But hey, there's a lot that could change here in the final laps. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination.
The 99 now coming down to the attention of his crew. That's Josh Chaney. Is he coming down by himself? It appears he is. Now Frank Coons debating coming down pit road. The 99 making the stop all by himself. He might be trying a little bit of strategy that nobody else is trying to think of. Now it's going to be the 09 of John Allers going to pick up a 1 lap to lead. Randall Watkins in second, Almindo and Wyatt in fourth. Now Brian Harvey and Stefan Marinac, they're going to drop to the back of that 6-car group out there. The next car near them is Ed Williams Jr., but he is 1 lap down. Josh Chaney also goes a lap down by virtue of going down pit road that time. Interesting fact out here, Harrison. 30 cars started the race. A third of them now have been retired as a result of incidents on the field, and I don't think we're done seeing the fireworks fly here.
But you're exactly right. It's some fireworks that just flew but did not bring out the caution. Is if you take a look at the number 03, that's Nathan Bowers, the Logitech Chevrolet Impala, and he came out of turn number 2, bumper hooked off of the guy he was pushing. Sometimes you get latched onto these bumpers at an awkward angle. It gets your car extremely loose, and he ended up spinning down the backstretch, but no one was near him. Officials kept it green, but his car is so heavily damaged that it completely takes him out of the race. And he was a lap down to start with, where he was needing a caution as he was working with a 78 of Keith Brooks Jr. trying to get back on the lead lap, but that's not going to help matters as he comes to the attention of his pit crew.
Another retiree of the evening is going to be the 99 of Josh Chaney. After going that lap down, he is done for the evening, and that will be the end of his night. The 03 machine of Nathan Bowers, he very well could be done as well. Yep, He's going to go ahead and pull it behind the wall, and he is done. So 1/3 of your field, more than 1/3 now of your field retired for the evening. 2/3 of your field still running at least one lap down, if not more. And the biggest winner as a result of all this, Bobby Terrell, who you mentioned earlier, Harrison. He's going to win he's winning through the rule of atrophy. If you can outlast and outplay all the other people out there, you could be the only survivor. But I don't think Bobby Terrell came to Talladega hoping to win a reality show.
Yeah, that is exactly right. He wants to win this race more than anything in the world, and actually right now running really good lap times compared to the leader. They've picked up a second over the last 2 or 3 laps, and that's what drafting together really well can do for you, as Bobby and Rich Jett are alongside of the 62 of Wilco, who is working with the 3 of Barry Hines. And those 2 drivers, all these drivers having good runs here, but Bobby Terrell certainly wishing for a caution to just give him a shot at these leaders, because I think he knows that he can contend for that win. But as we move to 24 to go, right now it has a green flag look to it.
The 24 and 66 continue to lead, but that's going to change as the 09 gets the big jump. John Ehlers with the push from the 77. They're going to make it move, and they're going to get the big move and try to take away the lead. Then there's the 81 and 12. That's Almindo and Hippie. They debate making it 3 wide for a second, and they're still debating it. 81 of Almindo looking for the gap. Not going to get it this time by. They'll be hatched up between the 24 and the 66, and they will continue running without any problems out there. More trouble on the track, it sounds like. It's John Abbott, your administrator here. Heavy smoke coming out of that number 10 machine.
Yeah, I went back and looked at it. That 10 car of John Abbott had some front end damage from earlier in the evening. A lot of times it makes your car more prone to overheating. That's exactly what happened to John Abbott there. He was not pushing for someone for too long. It simply was a car that could not keep its temperature down. So he will be pulling it behind the wall. We remain green. There is no fluid on this racetrack. And I just want to give a shout out again to the 77 of Randall Watkins, who every time we've seen him pushing somebody, they have been in that lead battle. Randall Watkins doing a great job tonight, really in the contention for this victory, as John Ehlers in the lead, who led last lap despite the damage on his left side of his vehicle. The all-clad Metal Crafters LLC Chevrolet SS just having great runs up there up front. But pit stops coming soon could change everything.
Could absolutely change everything. So now only 11 cars remain on the lead lap. Jose Gonzalez, the last of the Mohicans out there, as he gets a push from Frank Coons, currently 1 lap down. And Jose Gonzalez, you want to talk about somebody who had a strong night coming in with a Speedy Gonzalez Chevy Impala. He was the fastest car in all of Mexico. Now having some problems out there, and it all resulted from a bad pit stop when they had the yellow flag stop.
Yeah, he just wasn't able to come through the field. I expected it to be a little easier than it was. It turns out that these tandem drafts, when you start them up front, you can get a huge jump on your competition. Just creates a buffer zone on the track that's just so difficult to make up. So Jose Gonzalez, I believe, has already done his pit stop. As I look at his lap chart right now to figure that out, he pitted about 8 laps ago. And so right now working with the 48 of Frank Coons, who's not on the lead lap, but Gonzalez is ready to go on fuel, hoping that he makes up those 48 seconds when his competitors come down pit road shortly.
And then there's a 00 of Mike Perry, currently scored 1 lap down in the 12th place position. He is a newcomer here to Real Sim Racing, running his first race last week at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Mike Perry, though, still running strong out there, not going to show any signs of wanting to give up anytime soon in his Chevy. He's given a strong push to the 2 of Rhett McBride. Mike Perry still running strong out there, and if you had a car out here that could compete, that could be a real strong competitor tonight, I'm going to say it'd be the 00 of Mike Perry. He's new to the series, but he's showing a lot of heart and a lot of skills that a contender needs to make a name at Real Sim Racing.
Yeah, as we look, the leaders coming to pit road. The 66 is down, the 24 Marinak is down, the 81 Almindo, the 12 of Wyatt. Right now, John Ehlers and Randall Watkins stay out. Our other 4 leaders come down pit road. Gas and Go will hook back up and Marinac actually not running with Harvey. The 81 of Almindo had a great pit stop and is meeting up with Marinac. So they swapped partners, even though they didn't mean to. But we'll see how that has an effect on these guys if they're going to stay with who they're with right now, try to keep that position on the others.
And now here comes the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. He gets a push from the 48 of Coons, and he will all but lead that lap. Jose Gonzalez gets back towards the front on that big run. He will be doing battle with the 09 of John Ehlers and the 77 of Randall Watkins. So Jose Gonzalez getting his lap back out there. Tequila Joe might have his second wind out there. John Ehlers, though, in the lead, and the 77 of Randall Watkins still giving him the push. No word yet on when they're going to come down pit road, but you got to believe it's going to be soon.
Yeah, I was going to say it might be this time by, but Randall Watkins there was looking to get to the low line, not able to get there. These two might be backing out of here and hitting the no, too late now. These guys staying out for another lap. Eller is going to lead this lap. Jose Gonzalez trying to stay on the lead lap with Frank Cooch trying to make a lap back. And so these drivers up front still having to make their pit stop. But these last couple laps, they lost quite a bit of ground, just weren't able to work together as good as they could have. And so this might affect them, being that the 81 of Almindo and Marinac only 36 seconds behind them. So the winning strategy, or the winning move of this race, really is just how well you get on and off of pit road should we stay green.
Should we stay green, it is going to be a very interesting race to have out here. Over 25 laps left to go on this field, and it's still anybody's race to be had. Randall Watkins still giving the push to John Ehlers. They're running way high out in the track. Still have no intention of coming down pit road. Are they running a different strategy, or did they come down earlier that we didn't know about? Because if so, whatever strategy they were working on is working well.
Yeah, I'm not too sure exactly if they are just planning to go as long as possible, maybe hope for a caution. But if there is a caution, they would give up the lead. It's just that they wouldn't lose a lap. But these guys staying out right now, I keep thinking that we're going to see them shortly. Looking at the when they last pitted, I don't believe they could make it all the way. And certainly these tires aren't giving up any time, but just haven't had the runs that they've needed the last couple of laps. Rich Jett and Bobby Terrell still have not come down pit road. Neither have the 62 of Wilco or the 3 of Barry Hines. So the top 6 on the racetrack have not pit yet. And it's very interesting here because as we approach 15 laps to go, or 16 to go as they cross the stripe this time by, these drivers staying out once again.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers 7 and 8 right now. That's Steven Almindo and Stefan Marinac. Remember, they both came down pit road. None of the other leaders have right now. Doug Wyatt and Brian Harvey also went down pit road when they had the opportunity. They're running effectively 15 to 20 seconds behind your top 6 right now. Ehlers, Watkins, Jett, Terrell, Wilco, and Hines. So, this is going to make for some very interesting racing because you got the haves versus the have-nots out there. The guys that are running with fuel, they're guaranteed to make the race the rest of the way, like Almindo and Marinac, just have to run their race and be comfortable. And the guys in front of them, they got to keep worried the entire race, the rest of the race anyways, about what they're going to do about fuel strategy moving forward.
Yeah, and I think the 81 of Almindo and the 24 of Marinac are in a pretty good spot right now. They're working really well together, making up ground. Meanwhile, the 6 cars in front of them still having to come to pit road. Taking a quick look, all the drivers in the top 6 still remain out on the racetrack. Going to give up in excess of 35 seconds when they come down, probably more like 40 seconds with just a gas and go. But these drivers trading positions here. And in the top 6, Rich Jett and the 32, working with Terrell, pulling up on the 3 of Barry Hines, along with the 62, and listening to the chatter on the radio. I think these drivers are trying to figure out when to just bring their cars to pit road. But as they cross the line, 14 laps to go. Whatever their decisions, they'll have to come to it soon.
They will have to make a decision soon, and they will have to live with whatever decision they make out there on the field. The 977 still trying to figure out when they're going to come down pit road, still chattering back and forth about when they want to come down and how they want to do it. They realize that they make this stop wrong, if they fail for some reason on this stop, that could mean the end of the race for them. We are just about, it's about 15 laps to go left at this point. Ehlers and Watkins still 1 and 2. And here they come. The 09 comes down. The 77 comes down. The 26 comes down. The 48 comes down. And now we have a new set of tandem drivers coming to the attention of their crew.
Yeah, and I apologize because I thought that Jose Gonzalez had pitted about 15 laps ago. He actually had some trouble where he slowed on the track, lost 15 seconds. All these drivers come down pit road. They were communicating on their radios about where they were going to position their car so that in case one hit the brakes later, there was an open lane to go to. So a bunch of drivers headed down pit road. Looking at Rich at the top, there are still 4 cars on the racetrack who have not come down pit road yet, but we just see the leaders of John Ehlers and the 77 leaving pit road right now. As Almindo and Marinac fly by, these drivers have to keep it on the apron until the backstretch, and they're going to have some ground to make up. As when pit stops cycle through, Almindo and Marinac are in a really good position.
And it looks like Wilco and Hines are going to come down pit road this time by. If not, it might be Jett and Terrell. We will have some more pit stops in just a moment. Yep, it's going to be Wilco and Hines. They will come down to the attention of their crew. And now it's going to be Bobby Terrell leading a lap, negating the lap bonus that Stefan Marinac received out there. 3 of Barry Hines overshoots his stall. John Wilco pulls in just fine. It'll be fuel only for both of those competitors. And now all eyes are on the 7 of Bobby Terrell. Remember, he won this race by only leading 4 laps when they came to Talladega in the spring. So Bobby Terrell knows a thing or two about winning races on fuel, about winning races at the end of the race. Bobby Terrell might have something up his sleeve that we're not aware of yet.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Oh, but they look low this time by. Bobby Terrell, Rich Jett coming to pit road. This will complete the green flags pit stop cycle as the 7 car just gets it down into the pit road speed quick enough to not get a speeding penalty. So both these drivers will gas and go. Unfortunately, they are going to be about 15 seconds behind the 81 and the 24 who are going to cycle through as the leaders of this race. And it might be a 2-horse race without a caution, as the other drivers just not retaining the momentum the last couple laps that these others have. So the 24 Marinac gets back to the lead, but as you pointed out, getting that bonus point for the lap led for the 7 car is a benefit because he certainly could use that bonus point.
Bobby Terrell comes off pit road. Rich Jett will follow him off, and those two will continue to go back to tandem racing. Rich Jett and Bobby Terrell about 10 seconds behind when they came off pit road, and I've got a feeling that deficit is about to grow. Marinac and Almindo now 4 seconds away from Harvey and Wyatt. 10 to go when we cross the stripe. Stefan Marinac, Steve Almindo, it looks like their race to let go if they choose to do it. Brian Harvey and Hippie hooked up together. Let's see what the split is when we get to the start-finish line. Stefan Marinac, Steve Almindo, great run for them. Harvey and Hippie have almost cut a second off the lead, and it looks like 4 cars will decide this race with 10 to go.
Yeah, the 66 and the 12, Harvey and Wyatt drafting together really aggressively. They were able to use the draft of a lapped car and some other vehicles to really pull them forward. Chopping off a second of that lead, they need to be on their game perfectly to make this up. As the leaders go for a switch, I tell you what, I didn't think that they were touchable if we stayed green, but it looks like the 66 and the 12 are coming. They just switched as well as the leaders switch. And these drivers are pushing their engines to the absolute brink of disaster, just as hot as it'll take, because they can't afford to switch more than they need to. As this time by crossing the stripe, the lead of the lead tandem to the second tandem down to 3.1 seconds. So this is not over.
Not by a long shot. Almindo and Marinac still leading as we Wyatt and Harvey in second and third. They're checking out third and fourth. John Ayers and Randall Watkins will round out 5th and 6th, and then it's Bobby Terrell and Rich Jett. Bobby Terrell knows he cannot afford to have a bad race at this point in the season. Unless he can get around Stefan Marinak, he will walk away from Talladega in the second place position in points. But right now, the question is how bad is it going to be? Marinak has locked in the points for most laps led. I believe so. Score him with an extra bonus point. If the race were to end right now, it would be between an 8 and 9 point disadvantage for Bobby Terrell going into the next 3 races of the season.
Not insurmountable, but certainly not where he wants to be. As this time by, Almindo and Marinak actually pulled about 2/10 on the second tandem draft, and even more than that on the third tandem draft. Randall Watkins and John Ehlers became disconnected, lost a couple of seconds. That's going to take them out of contention for this win as they switch again for the lead. That's going to put Marinak back in the lead spot. 81 of Almindo tucks in behind.
Almindo will go behind Marinak, and Marinak will lead another lap out here on the field. It'll be 7 to go when we cross the start-finish line, and this could be the race for the win right here. And the question is, what will Almindo do when Marinak at the end of the race? Will he give Marinak the win? Will he give him the bonus points? Or will he try to take the race for himself? Marinak and Almindo have not had the chance to work together all night, so this might be their very first chance to see what each other has for each other and what happens when push comes to shove at the end.
Yeah, as they become disconnected coming through 1 and 2, the 81 of Almindo just backing off the bumper of Marinak, and they lost about 5 miles per hour doing that. As third and fourth switch once again, Harvey moving around the 12 of Wyatt. That opens these drivers up to a little bit of vulnerability where if the 66 and the 12 get close enough to reach that draft and sniff any of that draft, it will pull them in extremely fast, but they are not close enough yet to take advantage of that. But this is an interesting battle for the lead building up right here. As we cross the line, we have 6 laps to go.
6 to go. Marinak back in front. Marinak back in front. Almindo behind him. And then there's a duo of Harvey and Doug Wyatt. They just can't seem to get a run going. They had a strong run going to start this cycle, and now they are still consistently about 3 seconds behind. Marinak and Almindo not able to make any moves forward. Randall Watkins and John Ayers also in the same boat. 6 seconds behind your leaders, 3 seconds behind that second duo. So this race could very well, for all intents and purposes, be over. The only 2 wildcard factors is 1, where will Marinak finish, and 2, where will Terrell finish?
I tell you what, that second battle just started sniffing that lead draft. That brought their cars up to 197, 198 miles an hour compared to the leaders right now doing 188, 189 after that switch. We are going to have a 4-way battle for this win. 5 laps to go. A caution flag ends this race. As of right now, the 66 and the 12 having to do a switch, but they have the benefit of that draft in front of them to keep them in. And I tell you what, I wasn't sure if they could do it, but they did it, and they're going to be there momentarily. Now that they're close enough to that draft, it's going to suck them right up into that lead battle, and 5th and 6th are too far back. But these third and fourth right here, Joe, they're making a big run as they take 4 laps to go.
On the split screen, you see Hippie there running in car with him in the 12 machine. The 66, Brian Harvey, right there as well. They've cut down the deficit. As soon as I say something, they've cut down the deficit from 3 seconds to now 1 second between them, which is a huge change in difference. To be honest with you, that's about 12 car lengths between your first draft and the second draft. The problem is they keep switching back and forth. Your top 2 switching much more efficiently. So now the question is, where are we gonna start seeing some things happen? Time is running out. When we get back to the stripe, it will be 4 laps to go. The 24 and 81 still have a dominant hold on this race. 4 to go at this juncture, and still anybody's race.
Yeah, these cars, as we get down to the nitty-gritty in this race, having to switch a lot because these motors are just heating up so quickly. The 66 switching with the 12 just now. Now the leader's having to switch Marinak to the lead, but that's only not going to be for long. The 66 and the 12 with a huge run after that switch. They're going to make the run to the lead. Brian Harvey moving outside of his teammate. The 12 of Douglas Wyatt trying to hang with him, and they're pretty much side by side right now for this lead battle. Right now, Harvey up front here. When they cross the line, it's going to be 2 laps to go. 4 cars in the running. And I tell you what, Bobby Terrell back there is just rooting for anyone but the 24 right now. There are a lot of extra points that come with winning, and it is a 4-horse race. Tell you, 2 to go. It's anyone's race up here in the front 4.
Popsicle sticks fly, 2 to go. Harvey in front, Hippie pushing. Now Stefan Marinak and Almindo need something to go on right now. 4 cars will decide this race. Bobby Terrell, best he can finish now in the field, is 7th if Rich Jet will allow him. Let's stay with these guys up front as the 66 and 12 now starting to do battle. Could mean good things for the 24 machine. If one of those 2 cars wreck, he is the first in line to take away this win and take away all the glory that comes with it. However, Brian Harvey will not say no. Doug Wyatt pushing as hard as he can. Now here comes the 24 and 81 when they cross the stripe. White flag, 1 to go. 4 cars will decide it.
As the white flag comes out, the 12 car, I think overheating too much, tries to go for that lead. That 66 of Brian Harvey's going to tuck down in front of them. Now the question is, Almindo, as the 81 pushes that 24 of Marinak, has he pushed for too long? Is he on the verge of blowing up? That's something that we see here very often at Talladega. As the 24 makes the move on the high side, the 24 and the 81 above, the 12 and the 66, they are side by side for that lead. And can they get it done? It is anyone's race. All 4 cars underneath a blanket fighting for this victory, but the low side starts inching away. Douglas Wyatt looking for that first win of the season.
Hippie getting the big run. The 24 of Marinak wants to take it away. It's going to be a photo finish side by side. They go through the oval. 24 almost hits the 12. 24 has the run. It will be Stefan Marinak taking away the lead from Doug Wyatt. Stefan Marinak, your winner here at Talladega.
Margin of victory, just over 1/100th of a second. That is to the great disappointment of Bobby Terrell. Stefan Marinak makes max points on this one. That is going to be about a 9-point lead heading into the next race. Not insurmountable. What a heartbreak for Douglas Wyatt. Thought he had it, but the high side just had the momentum. Marinak wins by a nose. What an incredible race.
We will take another look at that one, but Stefan Marinak right now your winner. Doug Wyatt in 2nd. Bobby Terrell finishes 7th out there as a 24. Stefan Marinak wastes no time celebrating. As soon as he gets back to the front stretch, he starts tearing up the sod here at Talladega. Stefan Marinak, your winner here at Talladega. We'll talk to your top 3 go-over points and preview the final 3 races of the season when we return. Stefan Marinak still burning him up, your winner here at Talladega. We'll talk to him next.
Hey, JD here with ETV Live, and let me tell you something. If it's too big for the pickup truck and you need to move it, there's only one trucking company you need to call, and don't bother with the Yellow Pages, cowboy. I'll give you that number in a minute. Manufactured goods, automotive, technical equipment, furniture, even if you need a reefer, Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated is the only choice, cowboy. With locations in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, Rancho Cucamonga, California, if you need to move it, store it, and keep it cold, you need to call Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated. Long haul, short haul, or just across town, Gary Mercer has the best trained and qualified drivers to get your load from point A to point B with professionalism and on time. So remember, Hoss, if it don't fit in a pickup truck, you're going to need a real truck, cowboy. Sponsors of ETV Live's Friday Night Showdown, Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated, 1-800-668-2980.
Home of the ETV Live Radio, the HD Radio Network gives you a variety of stations to choose from, including Big 80s Metal, all HDR Classics, all HDR Country, and more. Take your pick and rock your brains out. HD Radio Network stations are featured on iTunes Radio, TuneIn Radio, and are also listed on the Windows Media Guide. Listen today at hdradionetwork.com or take it with you in the mobile app from tunein.com. The HD Radio Network, home of ETV Live. You see it right here. This is what it looked like. The photo finish, exactly what 16 thousandths of a second looked like between two fierce competitors. Stefan Marinak, your winner, and Doug Hippie Wyatt in second. Steve Almindo third, Brian Harvey fourth, Randall Watkins fifth, John Ayers sixth, Bobby Terrell seventh, Rich Jett eighth, John Wilco ninth, Barry Hines in 10th. Only 10 cars finished on the lead lap. 10 cars were over 10 cars were destroyed as a result of the hard racing out here. So two-thirds of your field, the lap down, over one-third of your field destroyed or damaged as a result of incidents on the field. But right now, it's all about Stefan Marinak, the man who will be your points leader coming out of Talladega. He is down in victory lane with our very own Harrison Weidlitz.
Marinak, the new sole owner of the points lead. I believe by my quick unofficial tally, we're looking at a 9-point lead. But Marinak, after that huge win, I should probably start off and ask you about an early incident involving Bobby Terrell. Got involved early. How much did you know about his car's damage, and did that change the way you approach this race in any way?
I didn't really know about it. I missed the wreck, and I wasn't really sure who got in it, but basically, for most of the race, we just hung out, ran in line, tried to get the lead a couple points, and, weren't really being too aggressive. And we played the pit stop to where we pitted early, and then, if the caution was going to come out, we wouldn't have to pit, and we'd have the lead anyway. But me and Steven came out way above Doug and Brian, and they made up 3 seconds on us, and less than 10 laps. It was crazy, the run they had.
Yeah, certainly. We thought the race was over with that incredible pit stop, and they made that huge run and certainly came out on top. But looking at all those late race switches, just really making it very interesting. How on the verge of your car was your car to blowing up? Was overheating a huge factor?
I don't think it was. As soon as I would blink, I would get out of line or switch. But in practice, we made it like 1.5 laps blinking before we blew up. So I don't really think it would have been that big of a deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you get your 9th win of the season, Bobby currently has 3 races to go, about a 10-point lead heading into Texas, Phoenix, and Homestead. Which races are you most looking forward to try to really secure that points lead and bring home the title?
I'm really looking forward to Texas next week. We won there earlier in the year, and I'm really excited to go back to there. We've been pretty strong in the 1.5 miles. Phoenix, I'm not really too sure about. And Homestead, I think we'll do pretty good at.
Yeah, so an impressive showing. A good race here tonight at Talladega. Able to take home the victory, get max points on your closest competitor, and certainly paid off tonight. And who makes it happen for you? Who would you like to thank?
I want to thank Hippie Doug for painting this car for me. I'm sorry that I beat him by that little, but Yeah, Hippie's Paint Shop, Axo Sanitary, RSR, Inside Sim Racing, Derek Spear Designs, and you guys at ETV.
And that's tonight's winner, Stefan Marinac. Shades of Ricky Bobby with Wonder Bread in victory lane. I believe Joe has caught up with possibly a heartbroken second place finisher. So close to victory lane.
They call him Hippie Doug, but Hippie ain't too happy tonight. Doug, your first win once again eludes you here at Talladega.
Yeah, that's the second this year for me there. Yeah, that was so much fun though, and the run we got on the leaders there at the end was incredible. I got behind Brian and something happened, and we took off. It was gosh, that was a super fun race.
That tailwind seemed to work for you at the very end. You and Brian making it work for you. What were you guys planning at that end, at the very end there when you got that run, and how confident were you were going to be able to hold it?
I think I was going to get second no matter what, because when I was pushing Brian, we were flying, but the problem was I had both gauges flashing. The whole dashboard was flashing, so if we didn't do that last switch, we were going to blow up. So we did the last switch and got it as close as we could, and we just came up that short.
Definitely a tough break for you tonight. That first win continues to elude you. It's your second of the season. What's it going to take for you in the next 3 races to get up into victory lane?
Miracle. I'm not going to get a win in the next 3 races. I'll be lucky to get a top 10. But at the super speedways, I seem to do pretty good. So, I'm just trying to help Stefan out, and I guess I did a little bit more than I wanted to tonight.
Doug, Hippie Wyatt, before I let you go, let's talk about all these cars that you painted out here. You are effectively the unofficial painter for Real Sim Racing. So many of your designs, week in, week out, featured here on the track.
Yeah, it's just a hobby. I like to paint and sit up in the evening and do paint jobs, and I just love to see them on the broadcast and stuff. So it's it's a little rewarding to watch them out there.
Doug, Hippie Wyatt finishing second. Before I let you go, shout-outs, my friend. Who makes it work for you in the 12 team?
I'd like to thank RSR, first of all. They do a really, really, really good job. And Inside Sim Racing, of course. Hippie's Paint Shop. You guys got to check that out if you haven't seen it before. And my teammates, man, they put on a show tonight. Stefan and Steven and Brian Harvey and I just, that was incredible. So I want to thank them. Jose always, because he's the best. And Frank's the man, so appreciate it.
Doug, Hippie Wyatt stays 7th in points after his second of the season. Doug, we'll see you in the next 3 races, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Doug, Hippie Wyatt finishing second on the field tonight. Let's go down back to Harrison Wyatt. Let's caught up with Steve Almindo in 3rd.
And tonight's 3rd place finisher, Steven Almindo, can take pride in knowing that in these tandem draft races, it really comes down to the winning team, and he was a part of that winning team, being the pusher of Stefan Marinac. And certainly, Steven, I'm sure Marinac appreciative of that big push you gave him. And where did you think you were really gaining the most time with those switches and pushing? Where did you think you were really beating the competition to be able to keep you guys up front?
Well, when we came off pit road, I saw Doug back there and Brian about 5 seconds. So when we got out there, I knew we had a decent lead. But the main thing out here is just making sure you get your switching down and you get it down to a science pretty much. But in the last, I don't know how Doug and Brian had that run coming to us, but I told Stefan, I said, they get to us, man, I'm staying on your bumper on this last lap. My gauge is going to be flashing, but I'm sticking right there. We're not moving. So stay right there, and I'm surprised the thing made it across the line. But glad Stefan got the win. That was an awesome finish, and Doug finished in second. That's awesome. And we got a fearless 4 up in the top 4 tonight.
Yeah, and looking at the point standings, currently 15th in points, as you have run about 2/3 of the schedule. Looking at these final 3 races with Texas, Phoenix, and Homestead, I know you're looking for your first win. Are you going to be able to run all 3 races, and which track do you really look forward to running?
Oh yeah, I should be able to be here for the next 3 races, but I'm really looking forward to Texas. I've always loved them 1.5 mile tracks. Back at Atlanta, I did decent. I just always I stand out in them tracks, but the other tracks, Homestead, I'll be all right at. Maybe a top 10 car. Yeah, top 10 probably that. The other tracks are out of the question.
And throughout this race, looking out your windshield, did you have any close calls? How close were you to that first wreck? And just run us through your race real quick to if you saw anything really interesting.
Oh yeah, that first wreck. To be honest, I came around the corner and I had Doug right behind me. We came around that corner and I saw the cars sliding down the track, so I tried to put it to the high side, thinking they'd be wiped off the track when we got there. And the next thing I know, I got a car in front of me sliding sideways, brakes on and everything. I just put it to the wall and hope for the best. And after that, just kind of didn't look back after that. Just me and Doug stuck through it all until lap 40. And then we decided we need to make that push to the front to make something happen.
I tell you what, third top 5 of the year, part of that winning combination, that nose-to-tail pairing, the 24 and the 81. And who would you like to thank? Who makes things happen for you?
I want to thank the RSR for putting on these shows. It's awesome. ETV, Derek Spear Designs, Real Sim Racing, all my fearless racers out here. You know, I wouldn't be out here racing up front if they weren't here with me.
It's our third place finisher, Steven Almindo, and I'll send it down to Joe Cortez.
I've caught up with his driver, the number 7 machine, finishing 7th tonight, Bobby Terrell. Bobby, after that first incident, 7th is definitely, I'm sure, where you didn't want to be tonight.
Well, I mean, it's better than where I was running. I mean, you know, I'll take it.
When you got caught up in that first incident, when you caught up, did you think at any point, well, my night's done, this is it, and I'm going to have a long way to climb to get back in the lead for this championship? At what point did that ever go through your head?
Yeah, I mean, after I hit him, and I thought it was over right then, actually. I mean, you know, it's my own fault. I put myself back there because I blotched my, qualifying run. I clipped the apron. So, but like I said, I thought it was over. And then, like I said, I can't thank Rich Jett enough. I mean, he hooked up with me and he said, let's go. He said, I'll get you back up there. So a big thank you to him.
Bobby, now 10 points between you and Stefan Marinak going into the last 3 races, Texas, Phoenix, Homestead. What's the plan for the next 3 races?
Well, what do you think?
I'm going to take a wild guess and say win at all cost.
Yeah, I got nothing to lose, guys. I mean, the pressure's on Stefan now. I made up 68 points, and I forgot how many races. So, I mean, 10's doable.
Bobby Terrell, unofficially 10 points back after a 7th place finish. We'll see you next week at Texas.
Thank you, guys.
Harrison Weidlitz, what a crazy night we saw tonight, and what an incredible win for the driver of that number 24 machine, Stefan Marinak. Your closing thoughts?
Yeah, coming to the end of that race, so we saw that second tandem draft pull right up on those guys. I really thought it was going to be tough for Marinak to be able to hold on, bring his car to victory lane at that point. But who ended up doing the Polish victory lap? It was that 24 car, notching his 9th win of the year. So going into these final 3 races, as Bobby Terrell just mentioned, nothing to lose. 3 races to go, win at all costs. It's going to be a heck of a show, and a 10-point deficit, it really still is anyone's race. It's very much a heads-up matchup.
Don't forget, every Tuesday night, they break down all the action here at Real Sim Racing. Join the Cowboy, JD Webb, Jimmy North, and Evan Pasoko, and the whole crew Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. for an hour of rewind, looking back at previous broadcast events, guest interviews, drama, and topics too hot to touch. The boys ramp it up in the BS and Backtalk segment with thoughts and opinions on some of the hot topics in the online racing arena, and this race will definitely be a point for them. It's fun, entertaining, no rules, no BS. BS Rewind and Back Talk, 9 p.m. Tuesdays on ETV Live Radio. So that will do it for our broadcast team. Be sure to join Harrison Weidlitz next week as the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault B Series goes 135 laps at the Texas Oval. 3 races to go. 10 points separate Stefan Marinak and Bobby Terrell. Still anybody's races as we finish off this Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault B Series presented by Inside Sim Racing. On behalf of our entire broadcast team, producer Laura Lawson, executive producer J.D. Webb, my partner in crime, Harrison Weidlitz, I am Joe Cortez. We will see you next week, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, for the RSR Asphalt Assault B Series live from Texas. Good night, everybody.
Join 5,000 plus other listeners where you could hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV Live Sports Radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com.